Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. You want to hear this? So I bought this like microphone to kind of help with the sound, and I do what it says, and I can't hear you. So
Oh, I
no good.
know. I had a lighting snafu earlier too. Technology.
Oh Lord. But I love it. I'm not no I do not say anything bad about technology. Without it, I don't think I would have moved as quickly on Beanie Sleeper, to be honest with you. But let me do my little intro, and then we're going to dig right in. So, hi, everybody. My name is Ben. Excuse me. My name is Ben. I'm the creator of the Beanie Sleeper, the head wrap with the built-in eye mask. And I'm here today to welcome into my bedroom Kerry Jones of Indigo Tones. Kerry, did you purposely make that rhyme?
I didn't, but when I realized it was fabulous. I
I don't know. I don't know. I'll go with that for now.
yeah.
I'll go with that for now, but I don't really buy it. It's too cute. Um, so thank you for being in bed and cuddling. This is great. Let me get started with my first question. It's going to be in two parts because I'm a really big fan of Simon Sinek's Start With Why. And Start With Why completely focused me on Beanie Sleeper and how I want to help people going through chemotherapy. It was that book that really focused me. So my two questions are, do you have a why of color, of why you choose color? And how did you, was color like always it for you? Was it a calling?
No, actually, it wasn't. I was very interested in our history when I was in college, but I was a business student and I was in human resources when I kind of became aware of this. And what happened to me was I was aware that when I was interviewing and hiring people, I was making decisions about whether they knew what they were talking about or if they were appropriate for the job based on the way they looked. You know about first impressions, right?
Hmm.
Also became very aware that I didn't remember people that were all dressed in the typical black suit, but somebody who
Hmm.
was in color, I would remember them positively or negatively depending on what happened. And I became aware of that different colors suited people differently way back when I was in human resources. And what I really wanted to do when I initially started was to help people to make better choices about their appearance so it would help them to simplify their lives and feel more confident in the interviewing process or in their self-development or personal development or professional development.
Let me ask you, because I actually skipped your whole intro because I got so excited that you're here. I call you a color goddess or a
I
color guru, a color titan. But do you have
stay with that. I love that.
is there an official title? I mean, I mean, what is it? Do you have an official title?
I am considered an image consultant, but image consulting, it has a broad range of things that help people to, with their image or their personal brand or their appearance. But what I found is that really for me, this is another one of the whys, is that for me, it's the color that is the most thing that really does float my boat, that really I have a passion for. And when I talk to my clients or when I talk to the community or when I share what I do, I really drill down on being a personal color an analyst. I analyze
Okay.
colors. And then what I do after I do that basic part is I help them to understand other aspects that will help their overall image. But really, I start and am passionate about the personal color. And I help people to find colors that put them in perfect harmony with what they're wearing.
And that could be, for example, for an interview. I mean, you might wear different colors for an interview as opposed to maybe going with your wife to dinner or your
Yeah,
husband to dinner.
really, once for example, these are my colors. These are actually swatch books that my clients would get after they have had their personal colors analyzed. And
Hmm.
I'm proud to tell you that I actually manufacture these books right here, or right in Rochester, New York. I'm actually not in Rochester, New York right now. I've started to travel, and I'm traveling right now. But so someone who's going in for an interview might wear these neutrals that are not black, that are more grays and whites rather than black, but they know that those are appropriate neutrals for them. Or, you know, you might want to know that these are my pinks, versus someone who has different coloring than me might wear colors that are more like this. So it helps you to identify the specific version of the colors that work. And then we talk about, you know, someone's style. You know, my style is a little bit more feminine and a little bit more romantic. So if I was going to go to an interview, I wouldn't put myself in a stiff pinstripe suit. I would want to resonate more with my personality. So it's very nuanced, but it's very individualized as well.
I think one reason I really I'm so excited you're here is because my very first company, I was a fashion stylist and I dressed business executives. And on my questionnaire were give me 3 colors you hate and 3 colors you like. I didn't say I wouldn't use the colors they hated. I just wanted to kind of find out why they didn't like them. Because chances are they were colors that might have made them pop a bit, and they were more like, I want to be in the background. So it took some convincing. But I got to ask you something. You have this color superpower, right? Because I'm sure by now it's almost instinctual when you meet somebody, you get an idea. Because I don't know. I have a feeling. I don't know if that's true, but I have a feeling. Have you ever like gone somewhere, like a party or an event, and you see somebody and you just want to go, no.
That's what people assume. In fact, it's really hard for me to shift that thinking. I'm not, it's so fine tuned that I really do rely on the drapes that I use to, you know, in my testing. What I can't turn off, what happens to me 100% of the time when I go to a cocktail party or I'm just out and about. I mean, I met some new people yesterday and the first thing they said is, am I in my color? You know, that happens nearly 100% of the time. What I is the difference between, say, my version of aqua and the one that's just slightly off is very subtle. And so if I just meet somebody, they might look great in that color or good in that color, but once we drill down on the perfect colors, it's like magic. And what I can't turn off is when, like, I'm sitting there maybe at a church service or you know, some watching, and it's some place. I mean, before we had, you know, we're all in masks and everything, and when somebody is in all perfect color harmony, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, we're all drawn to that person. We all are like, wow, they look amazing. And it's
true
because they look fashionable. And it's not just because they have a fabulous outfit on. It's like the feeling that we get when we hear an amazing song and we want to stand up and dance. That's how very, 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 it's almost like when color harmony hits me, I can't help myself. But I don't look for the negative. It's just not the way I think. And I certainly don't want people to think that that's what I'm doing, because that would be
Oh no, that's not cool. I was just wondering how your eye works when you go to a party. My biggest thing when I was dressing executives was fit. I am all about fit. I don't care about brand. I don't care about if it's pleather or leather or whatever it is. I just want it to fit well. So that was my thing. And I got to tell you, I'm in New York, and walking down the streets pre-COVID, I would notice this a lot, because that's kind of where my head was. And I guess that's what I was getting at, because sometimes when I'm in a space, I'm like in that space. But yeah, that's what it did for me.
I have a colleague, Andrea Bonowitz, who does personal styling, and she and I teach some classes together, and we consider color, style, and what I would call scale, which is what you're talking about, which is fit, and, you know, how it, you know, just working to your body shape and all that. We call that scale. Those 3 things put together are what we call our trifecta. of what.
I love it.
So it's a three-dimensional, you know, harmony. Color harmony is 3 dimensions, which, you know, that's a whole nother topic. But looking really pulled together and wearing clothes that feel right and just looking your best is about the 3 things. You can't do great color without it fitting right, and you can't wear clothes that aren't your style, and you can't, you know, it's got those 3 things all together, and when they happen, it's a wow, you know.
Let me ask you this. COVID, I mean, 2020, right? COVID has changed, I will say, pretty much everything from how we communicate to, I mean, I'm on Zoom, I find people, you and I are connected because of the Rochester Open Coffee. So, and that was from Meetup. So how has your job and how's that changed during COVID? How are you doing what you do in this format?
So initially, back in you know the spring, I was shut down completely because I'm considered part of the personal service. But I do sell my swatch books, and I do have a full line of my own Indigo Tones, non-toxic botanical cosmetics that I was able to continue to sell over you know, online. I don't. The color part of my business, the actual analyzing of someone's colors via, you know, via this virtual situation, because it is so fine tuned that one, you know, I put somebody in a color palette that's just a little bit off, and it's all the wrong colors, even though their clothes not great. And so I don't do that. A lot of people told me, oh, when COVID hit, you've got to start doing this virtually. You got to analyze people's colors virtually. And I did give it this much of a try, and it just doesn't, I don't believe in it. So what I've done is I have, I want to get out and meet people one-on-one and get out. I'm based, as you know, in Rochester, New York. It's a great town. I love being there. But there's a lot of people throughout the country who don't have access to a personal color analysis. And so in the time that I was sort of in lockdown, I did sort of a revamp of my business. I changed my studio space to be more educational and not have all the clothing and jewelry and things in there, that because if anybody came, I wanted social distancing and I wanted it to be one-on-one more so. So I changed my studio setup. And in fact, I actually did purchase a traveling van that's being constructed right now.
Wow.
I am actually coming to you from Vero Beach, Florida, because I've started my traveling without the van. The van won't be done until about May. And I'm going to be more one-on-one, more individually. It allows me to be able to travel without having to take public transportation, without having to, you know, rely on hotels and flights and that kind of thing, and to get out to other areas as well, and to see people that are, you know, are ready to do it. I have been meeting with clients. We follow the CDC guidelines. I find that a lot of people, myself included, are not getting dressed up. We're just, you know, we're in our homes, but people are looking at their closets. They're cleaning out their closets, and I guarantee that as soon as things really start to open up, we're going to want to get dressed again. We're going to want to, you know, look good. I'm a little bit sick of my yoga clothes and things like that. Other people are too. So, you know, in the meantime, I'm doing all kinds of other initiatives, you know, to kind of be ready.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I love that you have your own cosmetic line. I love that you said, well, I can't do this one thing, but how do I make this other thing work? I completely get that. I can completely understand that. I think that's brilliant. I think that's a sign of a true entrepreneur, when they know when they need to pivot. I just think that's brilliant.
That word until this year. But I also think that, you know, for me, just like everybody, you know, COVID has brought a lot of challenges, but it has also provided so many opportunities and so many ways to sort of step back and say, what's really important and how do I want to run my business? And, you know, who do I really want to be with? And what's really essential? And so I've been really fortunate that I survived this. And, people are still wanting, people want to simplify their lives. They don't want to have all this stuff that doesn't work for them. They want clothes that fit right and reflect their personality and that look beautiful and look great on them. And they want, they want the right one. Like when if I want to get a Beanie Sleeper, I want the right one. I want the perfect one.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. You know what? It's like I'm really thinking about I want to do this again 1 year from today to find out how that's changed since we've opened. Since the cities are opening and people are getting together, because I can only imagine that they are just going to flock to you because they do want to get out and we do want to be seen. I feel I've never felt so closed off than I have through this whole pandemic, and I like people. I so it's been very challenging. Let me ask you, I want to talk about like your interaction with a client. Now, people pay for your service, so I would think they would be really open to what you have to say. But I found that people say they're open, but that has a whole different idea of what that is. Have you ever like had a client say, I just can't do that color?
Yeah.
And you kind of have to how do you find the compromise with them? How do you get them on your side?
So usually, we all come to where we're at in life based on things that have happened to us. Some people are afraid they're afraid I'm going to tell them that black doesn't look good on them, or they're afraid of wearing color. And a lot of people, especially women, are dimming themselves down. We're dulling ourselves down. Mm-hmm. The fashion industry is promoting black because it's easy. I mean, I heard when COVID first started that, a lot of the fashion businesses were not going to buy expensive different rolls of color because it was too much of a risk. We're used to dimming our light. We're used to dimming ourselves down. And where I live in the Northeast, and you're in New York, it's cold and it's dirty in the winter and stuff like that. And so we don't have as much of a freedom in that sense. So there's also, the is definitely, involved there. So for example, bright spring, these colors are super, super bright. This is what I think of where we are right now, March, think of, bam, burst of color. We're ready for spring, right? You have to have a certain personality to go with those colors. And sometimes people, what I really think makes me different from some other people that do image is I really, really care about the person's personality and who they are and pulling this together so that they're being authentic. This is not like, here's the latest trend and here's
oh, I see.
Go do that. I really want to get to the point of what is the conflict, because I profoundly believe that this is an insight into who they are. The universe has an order. There's a science to this. You are not, we are not separate from what our coloring is and what our personality is and what our shape is and what our, all of that stuff. And so I have a pretty good success rate of finding what it is that's the barrier. What's the problem in exploring this? And a lot of times it takes the client, and they're not that many. A lot of times it's like, oh, wow, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But the few people that really are resistant, I let them go off and do their thing and try it like in a quiet way. And oftentimes, now that I've been doing this business for almost 17 years, they'll come back to me in a year, 2 years, 3 years, like, oh my gosh, it took me a while. It took me a while. And it does take a while. It takes a while to build the colors, to find the colors. But it's a process, and it's a process of knowing ourselves. And we're all in that journey. I'm in my 50s, and I mean, we're all doing that, right? We're all trying to.
I can tell you,
sometimes we don't want to face certain things,
I just love that. It's not just that you look good in purple, it's that it does this for your personality and it brings out this in your personality. I love that you connect that as opposed to being like, what's the latest thing in the magazine? Oh, wear that. because I've had many, when I was doing this, I've had many clients who buy off of the mannequin. They're like, it looked great on the mannequin, but it was so wrong for them. I just,
I had a very recent experience. One of my Rochester clients, she had all of her girlfriends were really into fashion, really into all this, super into my business. They've all had their colors done. They all wear their colors, and they all have bright colors that they wear, light
Mhm.
colors that they wear. And she came to me very, very reserved and very skeptical. And it turns out, actually, I have her swatch book right here. I didn't even think about this, but it turns out her colors are really muted and her colors are really soft. And in the education that I do with the color analysis, I explained that you're not supposed to wear pop and you're not supposed to wear, bright, color blocking and everything. You're supposed to be more muted. You're supposed to be, whatever. And all of a sudden I could see the light bulbs going off and saying, she's supposed to be heard. She's not supposed to be her good friends. And the trust I think that was developed with that client was a really good example of, if I can just get through the entire color analysis, at the end when we pull it all together, it can really establish trust in a different way. And also, like I said, I'm really girly. I'm really romantic. So when they come and they see me dressed like me, and by the end, they know that my colors and my style are not what I'm going to try to put on them.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are image consultants kind of want people to look like them, and I don't want people to look like me. I want everyone
I,
to be themselves. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of want to I want to, and you want to bring out the best in your client. Whatever their best is, you want to bring that out.
That is the why right there. That is
Yeah.
that is
Well, that's a great why.
that's the why that I have with every aspect of my life. I don't want everybody, we're not meant to be just like everybody else. We're meant to be
Exactly.
ourselves. And I say this over and over and over again in a color analysis. When you enhance what you are given naturally, the results are so much more beautiful than anything you can try to do to work against gravity. When I used to try to straighten my hair in the 70s,
Hmm.
I wanted to look like Marsha Brady or Dorothy Hamill, and I just looked terrible. But when I just let myself be me and let my hair be curly and let myself wear my girly clothes and skirts and dresses and stuff like that, that's when I started to really feel more confident in who I was. And that's what I want every person, whether they're a man or a woman or whatever, wherever they, resonate, to be whatever that is. And so that's what I see my job is, even though I call myself a personal color analyst.
Yeah, I love it. I just think it's great what you do. I think you're helping a lot of people. I'm going to ask you, I think we're at our last question, which is, do you have any sleep rituals? What do you, if you could tell us, what's kind of like your sleep ritual that helps you get your 8 or your 6?
Okay, so I think sleep is so hugely important. I mean, you can put all kinds of face creams on and you can do this and that and the other thing, but sleep is the number one thing for your mental acuity, for the way you look. Absolutely. And for me, I have suffered from insomnia in my life. And
Mm.
so I do a lot of things. Are you ready? I definitely try to, I don't like to eat late in the evening. I like to go to bed with an empty stomach. I like quiet. I love the Beanie Sleeper that you can, make it very dark. I never watch anything upsetting or put anything toxic in my brain before I go to bed. And I absolutely love, 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 love a weighted blanket. I don't have my weighted blanket with me
Oh my gosh.
and
Really?
really, I'm trying to do things to put the weighted blanket, create weight, because I love it so much. And I just make sure that by the time I go to bed, my brain is in the right place. I'm ready for positive dreaming. I go to bed grateful, and when my babies were little, my children were little, there was a thing that sleep makes sleep. And so the more sleep you get, the better you're going to sleep. And so I really believe in early to bed, early to rise.
I'm such a morning person. I do the same thing, and I really agree with you. I can't. I never watch news. I never watch it. I like positive things. So I totally love that you do that. I think that's really, really awesome. Um, Tell people how we can reach you. How can I get in touch with you to have colors done? Tell everybody that.
Rochester, New York. I have a really, really lots of information on my website, which is indigotones.com. I'm on Instagram at Indigo Tones. And I have, all the other social media as well. I'm available to travel. I'm in Florida until mid-April. I'm picking up my van that was done in May, and then I'm hitting the road, and I will go anywhere. And I'll go anywhere that my van will take me. And as soon as I can fly, I'll fly there too. So lots, I love groups of people because it's so much more fun and so much more educational. So Kerry, Kerry at indigotones.com is my email. And like I said, my website and my Instagram and Facebook have tons of information as well.
Yeah, and I'll put all your stuff in the linky thing. Yeah, I'm still figuring all that out, but I'll do that. Kerry, thank you. Thank you for cuddling with me and for being so sweet and so open. It was just fabulous, and I so appreciate you being here today.
Me too, and you're rocking the blues. I love the.
Oh, thank you.
Change to pink, so we balance each other really beautifully.
I love it. We can have a whole. It's so funny what you talked about. I just feel like we can have whole separate conversations on because they are so deep.
Yeah,
color is so much deeper.
Do a series here. Maybe we should think.
Oh my God, I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you to everybody for watching. My name is Ben. You've been watching Sleeping with Ben. So come back. We'll be here next week at 1 o'clock with our next guest. And thank you so much, Kerry. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.